Dear brothers and sisters, when you start to think of life itself and you think of the focus and the world outside, you find that everything out there is temporary, and the more we connect with it, the more devastation comes in our life, because when it's not stable, things are going to be difficult for us. And so we need to be in a state where we connect with that which is going to be permanent. And that which is going to be permanent is God the Creator. And so we need to be able to focus our attention on God, and this is where our spiritual path is focused on. Irrespective of whatever beliefs are, irrespective of whatever part of the world we live in, irrespective of whatever lifestyles we have, we all believe in connecting with the divine power of God, which is lying latent within each and every one of us. And so our path is always exhorting us to connect with that solidity, to connect with what is permanent, to connect with what is within us. And to connect there, we don't need any external devices, we don't need any outside gadgets, we don't need any prosperity in this world outside to be able to connect with the divine power within. And so the key is, as we lead our lives, is to focus on what is truly important. That is to find that connection with the Creator. And the saints over the years have been telling us that each and every one of us can have that connection. It's not limited to a few. And the connection happens as we sit in silence, as we meditate. And so this path is focused totally on meditation. To be able to meditate, to be able to connect with the divine power, to be able to find the stability, and then lead lives which will be able to fulfill the goals for which we find ourselves in this human existence. So as we all gather from all different parts of the world, and we're gathering here today in the Chicagoland area, and people are gathering in all different parts of the world to find that connection, to solidify that connection. Is that what we should be focused on in the new year? If we are meditating for 10 minutes, let's make it 15. If we made for 15 minutes, let's make it 20. If we made for 20 minutes, let's meditate for 30. If we're lucky to meditate for 30 minutes, let's meditate for an hour. And those who meditate for an hour, they can go for an hour and a half. And those who meditate for an hour and a half can go to 2 hours. And those who go for 2.5 hours, more power to them. And if you go beyond that, wow, it's like you can't do any better. Okay? And so the more time we can give to our meditation regularly, the better off each and every one of us is going to be. And the more the connection with the divine power then, the better we find our life is, because it's on the inside that we find all the joys. It's on the inside that we find all the peace, all the happiness, and it's on the inside where everything is permanent and there's nothing temporary. And so the key in the new year should be to find that permanence so that life can be lived in the best possible of manner. So let's address some of the questions that came in the last 2-3 weeks.
What is the significance of darshan on the spiritual path?
True darshan is one that Sant Rajinder Singh Maharaj talked about. He said a true meeting is one which is between a master and disciple, which happens from the eyes of the master to the eyes of the disciple, from the heart of the master to the heart of the disciple, and from the soul of the master to the soul of the disciple. So that is a true meeting, that's a true darshan. And so when we are looking for a darshan or when we receive a darshan, it's to nourish our soul. And so when the spiritual radiation that is coming from the spiritual master is coming in our direction, then it's to help us spiritually so that we are able to soar into the inner regions, so that we're able to go on the spiritual journey, so we're able to connect more strongly with the divine power which is within ourselves, the divine power of light and sound of God. So a darshan has no barriers to stop it from getting to our soul. So it's going to go beyond the mind, beyond our illusions, and beyond every other arena that we think might be stopping it. It passes through all that and gets to our soul. And so the key is, this is why so much emphasis has been put on being in a state when we are in the Sangat, or when we are in a gathering of seekers after truth with the spiritual master, to focus into the eyes of the spiritual master, because when the spiritual radiation comes in our direction, that we are able to take it through eyes, through our heart and through our soul. And so a true darshan is one which penetrates through all of the physical barriers, the emotional barriers, the mental barriers, and goes to our spirit, to our soul. And it uplifts us, it puts a stirring in our soul, it puts the love of God in our own being, so that it makes us happy, it makes us joyous, it puts us in a state of bliss.
How should we pray for those who are cruel to us and for those who are victims of cruelty?
If we feel someone is cruel to us, we can pray for them to have a better understanding. Most people, if we feel they're cruel to us, are because they are not understanding our situation. Okay? So they're not understanding what is it that we need, or what is it that we would make us happy. And since they don't recognize that, then they say things or do things which bother us a lot. Okay? So sometimes they might not be aware of it. If they're not aware of it, then the best thing is to talk to them. Okay? And then put our point of view across and tell them, hey, this is painful, please don't repeat that, and do it in a very calm and easy manner. Sometimes they might be aware of it, and if they're doing it purposely, then whatever you tell them, they're not going to listen to you. Okay? And then our recourse is to pray to the Creator to change them from within, to have their understanding get better, so that they're more resilient to what our needs are. And I would say, if someone is being cruel to us, then the prayer should be to have them have a better understanding, so that they recognize what the situation is like and act in a amicable manner, in a peaceful and a calm manner. Now, for those who've been, let's say, persecuted, or those who've someone has done something bad to them, and or devastation that happens through even natural disasters, let's say, and then people lose their homes, and people don't have food to eat, there's famine, there's all kinds of difficulties that happen in life. I think we need to pray to the Creator to make their lives easier. We ourselves, whatever help we can give, we should provide. If we have the means to financially help them, we can financially help them. If we have the means to physically help them because we have the time, then we can physically help them. If we have the means to emotionally help them, then we can do that. If we have, there's some mental activity that will help them, we're pretty intelligent in things, we can help them that way too. So we have certain resources, then we can help others through our own resources. We can even make groups and people together to help others in times of difficulties, or people going through a difficult period. And beyond that, I think whatever help we can do or we can provide through our friends or other people, we can pray to the Creator to make their lives easier, to give them the needs that they would need to be able to deal with their difficult situation.
How can we overcome anger?
In life, we all run into some people who annoy us. It depends on the degree of annoyance that we feel. Most of us feel there's some person at work who's always creating difficulties for us. Many people feel there's some person in a close family who's always antagonistic towards us. Maybe in our neighborhoods, we might feel a neighbor who's, let's say you have a house and you have a boundary, and they always want to get a feet or two of your land, and they plant something in there. We all run into those kind of things, right? Which even though you think get marked up, you find people do stuff like that. It's difficult not to get angry at them. But what we should understand is that anger remains with the person who gets angry and doesn't reach the person who the anger is towards. That's a big problem of anger. So if you're angry at someone and if your anger reaches them, then maybe they get a little devastated. But generally it doesn't, because they're oblivious to your anger. Even if you confront them and say something, they hear from this ear, they let it go that ear. So the people who annoy are the people who don't get annoyed themselves. Okay? Because they're built like that, or they have a character like that. So even if if you get angry at them, they hear from here, they keep on doing the same stuff. So, and whosoever gets angry is the one who's has turmoil in them, has difficulties in them, and then he can't meditate properly, or attention is not in the right arena. And so the key is to try to get to a state of realizing that anger is not going to be good for us. One of the examples you can think is, let's say there's a child in the family, okay? Where there's a mother or father, and you have a child in your lap. The child can throw a tantrum, okay, and be very difficult for you. And there are children who even snatch your hair and create all kinds of difficulties. But when they do that, as a parent, you don't get angry at them. And you're trying your very best to make sure that the child will get calmed. Use whatever techniques you have to use to make them calm. Same thing with the school teacher. The kids in the school, especially in the lower grades, are not very easy to deal with. Because all kids are different. And so the teacher, finds that the kids in the classroom are creating havoc. But then he or she has to deal with them, and they've learned the techniques, and they figure out how do we deal with this environment. And so it's the same thing as an adult that we need to figure out for ourselves. Okay? What are the mechanisms that we can have so that if someone is annoying us, we don't get angry? And I think one of the things is, as we meditate more, as we find the calmness within, then if anger comes in our direction, we don't let it affect us. There's a classical story about Lord Buddha, where when someone was angry at Lord Buddha and said all kinds of bad things about Lord Buddha, he didn't get upset. But his followers got very upset, because no follower of a spiritual master can hear anything against their spiritual master. And so they wanted to do something bad to the person who was saying bad things about Lord Buddha, but he stopped them. And he said, this is a gift he's giving me, I'm not taking the gift. So we have to take it like that too. If someone annoying us, we just listen to it and we just let it pass away. We ignore it. And sometimes ignorance is blissful. Because when we ignore something, then it's not bothering us anymore. And so, but we need to get to that state. It's very difficult to get there. Because if someone does something which is bothering to us, we react, and if we react very quickly, it's going to be with anger. And the anger is not going to go to the other person, it's going to remain with us, and so there will be more turmoil in our life. So, after a while, you get to these words, let them. Let them do whatever they want. Okay? We're not going to get bothered. If they're doing something which is bothering us, we're not going to let it affect us. So that they are not going to run our life. That we are the ones who are running our life. It's not someone else is running our life. So we need to get to a state where we have control of ourselves and we don't let someone else run our life. We run our life in the best possible manner that we know how. And that is that we want to be calm, we want to be peaceful, we want to be happy, we want to be joyous. And in life, there are a lot of people who throw unhappiness in our life. And if we let them affect our life, then we become unhappy. So we need to train ourselves to not let someone else's unhappiness come into our life. Whosoever it is, doesn't matter. Okay? Could be a close family member, could be a close friend, could be someone at a place of work, could be someone in the community. We as an individual need to be happy and joyous. I mean, we are here to be one with God. We are here to be in a state of perpetual happiness, of eternal bliss. We should not let anyone else destroy our happiness. So we need to get to that state where, if someone is doing something which is bothering us, someone doing something which is troublesome, I ignore it. Let it pass away. You pray to God to change them. God feels He's not changing them or she's not changing them. More power to God. We can only pray to higher authority, right? Because if we pray and they don't change, then if you do something to whatever the higher authority, you go with whatever they decide, right? So we can pray, but we can't let that affect us. And the key is to get to that state where we are kind of in a cocoon, in the sense like nothing from the outside bothers us. It will only happen if in your own state you're happy. And that'll happen if you connect with the divine power within, if you connect with God within. Because all happiness comes from there. And once we find that happiness, then nothing on the outside which is different from what we expect, which is like annoying to us, is going to bother us.
How can we deal with the pain of loss of a loved one?
In life, we are going to find that life is such that physically our loved ones do leave. Could be our grandparents, could be our parents, could be our children even sometimes. People that we are close to in our neighborhood. And depending on the closeness that we have with the one who's gone, we start to feel the pain of their separation. Okay? I think the key to be able to deal with the physical departure of someone is to recognize that the departure was only at the physical level. That the soul giving that body is eternal. Okay? And then to also realize that that soul needs to go back to its true home. Now, if they led a life which is good, they meditated, they were ethical, then they can reach their goals in this lifetime. If not, then they might be coming back again. And so, whatever our relationship with someone who's passed away, we should be happy that their physical journey has ended. Because this was the time which was given to someone to be able to knock off all of their karmic debts. Okay? Now, whether they did it or not is another question. But they were given the opportunity to be able to be rid of all their karma and get off the wheel of transmigration. And so, when someone leaves, then you have to be happy for them that they had an opportunity. Hopefully, they got to their goals, and then you'll be happy that their physical journey has ended. Okay? And once you do have an understanding like that, once you have that clarity, then they're going, even though it's painful, and then there's a period of mourning that happens, which is good because that's a time where loved ones or family members gather together and they talk about things, and slowly, so it starts to set in that physically the person is gone. And then you get to that state where you do realize that, okay, their journey has ended, ours is going to end one day also. And when you realize ours is going to end one day also, then you start to think, am I doing the right thing? Am I living in the manner that I should? And whenever that happens, that's the best thing that can happen to you. Because when sincerely from the inside you start to think of whether you are leading your life properly, then only you'll start to look at yourself objectively. Otherwise, we all think we're doing the right thing. We all think we're doing great, man. Everything is good. We never look at ourselves very objectively till something happens in which someone very close to us passes away. But then we realize, hey, this can happen to me too. And it is then that we are more sincere in our efforts to get to our goals. And so I think we need to look at the departure of someone who's close to us through that vision. If we look at it from that vision, that for one, that person's journey in the physical world has ended, all the time that they had to get to their goals has been given to them. And then it also opened up our horizon. Hey, I better look at myself and see, am I doing the right things or not? So that's like a happy time for us. That's like a good time for us. That's a time when we start to really focus on what we should be doing, how we should be leading lives, so that our goals can be fulfilled. So once you start to look at a departure of someone who's close to you from that point of view, then I think you would be able to not be affected in a manner which will affect your meditation, because once you realize that I also have limited time, then chances are you will find more time for your spiritual practices, find more time to meditate, and that's going to be good for you. Okay, let us meditate for a few minutes. Please sit as comfortably as you can. Close your eyes very gently, just like you close them when you go to sleep. Your eyeball should be straight. Focus 8 or 10 inches in front of you. And as you close your eyes, those of you who've been initiated in the mysteries of the beyond, please do your Simran. And those of you who are new here, please repeat any name of God that you feel comfortable with. This repetition of God's name should be done mentally and not out loud. I pray to God Almighty to help each and every one of us connect with the divine power within and to experience the divine light of God within ourselves. So we'll be sitting for a few minutes. I'll be getting you out of this meditative state at that time. And my best wishes are with each and every one of you. Please leave off.